Statement, I give the floor to the representative of Israel.
Thank you, Madam President. At the outset, I would like to extend my condolences to the people of Turkey following yesterday's tragic earthquake. Let me begin by reminding this Council that the name of today's debate is the situation in the Middle East, including the Palestinian question, and not vice versa. This morning, I'd like to take the unusual step of actually focusing on the situation in the Middle East. Let me assure you that I will give proper attention to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict later. However, let's first look at the facts. The Middle East is in turmoil. Thousands of innocents have been gunned down in the streets. People are calling for their freedom and demanding their rights. Yet month after month, this Council disproportionately on one and only one conflict in the region deals only with that. I don't claim that the Council does not deal with the situations of specific countries in the Middle East. It does. However, I think it is time to start connecting the dots so that we can face the bigger picture. For generations, the Arab world has failed miserably to address the needs of its own people. The United Nations Development Programme has sponsored five Arab Human Development Reports since 2002. Year after year, the Arab researchers who write these reports often offer a glimpse into the real world of the Middle East. Young people struggle without the access to jobs and education. Women are denied basic rights. Free expression is repressed. Minorities are persecuted. Elections are a sham. And with their world in flames, Arab leaders continue to blame Israel and the West for all their problems. For years, it's the only explanation that they've been able to offer to their own people. From time to time, they spice up the story. When a shark attacked a tourist in the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh lately, a local Egyptian governor suggested that the Mossad was using sharks to harm Egyptian tourism. Everything wrong in the Middle East, according to many Arab leaders, is simply Israel's fault. If it's not the Mossad, it's the CIA or MI6 or some other foreign force. Today, the people of the Middle East demand real answers for their plight. We have seen their brave stands in public squares. We've heard their cries, and we have witnessed the deadly response to these calls for freedom. In Hama, Dara, Latakia, the Syrian regime slaughters its citizens in a desperate bid to hold on to power. Some members of this Council remain blind to Assad's brutality. In Libya, the reign of Muammar Gaddafi is over after more than 40 years of repression and many months of bloodshed. The Libyan despot, violent, and illustrated what Churchill once described as the only signal disadvantage of a dictator. What he does to others may often be done back to him. This truth haunts the minds of many leaders in our region, and Gaddafi's fate rings an alarm bell for them. In Iran, an Ayatollah regime represses its own people as it helps other tyrants to butcher theirs. Last week, UN Special Rapporteur Shahid briefed the General Assembly offering a chilling picture of what daily life in Iran looks like. His report highlighted, and I quote, a pattern of systematic violations of fundamental human rights, including multifaceted deficits in relations to administration of justice, practices that amount to torture, the imposition of the death penalty in the absence of proper judicial safeguards, and the persecution of religious and ethnic minorities, and the erosion of civil and political rights. Iran remains the world's central banker, chief trainer, and primary sponsor of terror. Recent events have shown that its state-directed terrorism activities extend from the Persian Gulf to the Washington Beltway, with targets that range from innocent protesters to foreign soldiers to official diplomatic representatives. This is the way the regime behaves today. One can only imagine what it would do with nuclear capabilities, with a dangerous combination of an extremist ideology, advanced missile technology, and nuclear weapons. The IAEA reports make clear that Iran continues to march towards the goal of a nuclear bomb in defiance of the international community. We all cannot allow it to place the entire world under the specter of nuclear terrorism. The world must stop Iran before it is too late. Yes, Madam President, the Middle East is trembling. Its future is uncertain. And two roads stand before us. There is a future offered by Iranian and Syrian leaders, a future of more extremism, greater violence, and continued hate. Their vision will not liberate human beings, it will enslave them. It does not build, it destroys. And there's another road, a path of progress, reform, and moderation. The choice before us is clear. It has never been more critical to make the right choice for the future of the Middle East and its inhabitants. It is time for this Council to stop ignoring the destructive forces that seek to keep the Middle East in the past so that we can seize the promise of a brighter future. Madam President, make no mistake, it is important for Israel and the Palestinians to resolve our long-standing conflict. It is important on its own merits, so that Israelis and Palestinians alike can lead peaceful, secure, and prosperous lives. But it will not produce a sudden outbreak of stability, harmony, and democratization from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea. And seriously addressing the underlying problems of the Middle East will be essential for advancing Israeli-Palestinian peace. The road to peace can only be built on a foundation of mutual recognition and a dialogue. A month ago, President Abbas stood in this building and said the following, and I quote, "I come before you today from the Holy Land, the land of Palestine, the land of divine messages, ascension of the Prophet Muhammad, in brackets, peace be upon him, and the birthplace of Jesus Christ, brackets, peace be upon him." He denied 4,000 years of Jewish history. It was not a small omission. It was not an oversight. Palestinian leadership attempts to erase the connection between the Jewish people and the land of Israel is not new. Others in the Arab world have offered a different message. For example, in 1995, King Hussein came to the United States and said, and I quote, "For our part, we shall continue to work for the new dawn when all the children of Abraham and their descendants are living together in the birthplace of the three great monotheistic religions." Let me repeat this. King Hussein said 3 monotheistic religions, not 1 or 2. Those who seek peace do not negate the narrative of the other side. On the contrary, they recognize its existence and choose to sit down and negotiate peace in good faith. This is what President Sadat did. This is what King Hussein did. The ancient Jewish bond to the land of Israel is unbreakable. This is our homeland. The UN recognized Israel as a Jewish state 64 years ago. It is time for the Palestinians and more than 20 Muslim countries around the globe to do the same. Let there be no doubt, and I'll repeat that, Israel wants peace with a future Palestinian state. Let me repeat that again. Israel wants peace with a future Palestinian state. In word and in deed, my government has demonstrated time and again that we seek 2 states for 2 people living side by side in peace. And I repeat, 2 states for 2 people. Don't hear that from the Palestinians or any Arab leaders. If you hear the phrase 2 states for 2 people, please phone me, even on a 911 number, day and night. It's not coincidental. Prime Minister Netanyahu stood in this hall last month and issued a clear call to President Abbas. Let me reiterate that call today to the Palestinians. Sit down with Israel. Leave your preconditions behind. Start negotiations now. The international community has called on the Palestinians to go back to negotiations. Israel has accepted the principles outlined by the Quartet to restart negotiations immediately without preconditions. We're waiting for the Palestinians to do the same thing. Madam President, Palestinians suggest that settlements are the core cause of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's an interesting assertion, considering the fact that the conflict was raging for nearly half a century before a single settlement sprung in the West Bank. From 1948 to 1967, the West Bank was part of Jordan. Gaza was part of Egypt. The Arab world did not lift a finger to create a Palestinian state, and it sought Israel as an alliation when not a single settlement stood anywhere in the West Bank or Gaza. The issue of settlements will be worked out over the course of negotiations. But the primary obstacle to peace is not settlements. This is just a pretext for the